48 colors: ultramarine blue, lavender, indigo, and green gray. So cool blue colors. The indigo looks really deep blue, and I'm going to mix all of these colors, or try to mix all of the colors, using this lovely set which I'm giving away as part of the Movember cat inspired creativity challenge. And I want to see if I can mix colors with these granulating paints. So the watercolor granulates, and that means it has a unique characteristic where the paint actually tends to separate and dry in something with a bit more dimension. So watercolor often has more of a fluid ness to it, but then you get specific paints with specific pigments in, and that tends to separate and create this granulating effect. So let me see what the names of my different colors are. This color is cobalt green. There it looks very dark, almost like a black color, and it obviously depends on how much you paint, but it looks more like a viridian kind of green as I paint it on here. See what it looks like when it dries. This is a lovely color, cobalt teal. So I'll paint that there. It's beautiful light turquoise color. And yeah, it has indeed a dimension to it as it dries. You can just see how it granulates. Let me see if I can get it a little bit close up. Then there's this cerulean blue, or chromium blue. Very clean blue color. And ultramarine blue. It's a color I would have used quite often or previously in demonstrations. Just this very clean, to me it's a very cold blue, a purple blue. That's how it reads to my eye. And then ultramarine violet. This is not a color I'm very familiar with, to be honest. It's a purple, kind of heather purple color. It seems to not be a very overly concentrated pigment. As I load it and load the brush, the way it sits is not it's not a very concentrated color, and I think it also has that effect of separating. Dioxazine purple is a very concentrated purple, very intense purple, and this one definitely seems to have an sort of the movement as the particles, the granulation happen, is quite obvious there. And then the last one is ultramarine pink. So that's a very light magenta kind of color, and it also separates. Let's see what it looks like when it dries. Okay, so there are the colors as painted, mostly dry, and it does indeed sort of have a liveliness to it. Very, very pure colors, so I need to mix these up a little bit to get to these colors. I will use Paints Gray and also white gouache, designer gouache, to mix into these watercolors. So the first color is ultramarine, and I've just used ultramarine watercolor. I'm using this QoR mini set. So that's the blue. The second color is lavender. So I'm going to use what I have here, this color being ultramarine violet, And that's almost the correct color, but I'm going to add a little bit of blue, bit of the ultramarine blue to it to give it a bit more intensity, and then just a tiny smidgen, and that was too much of Payne's Grey. So let me scoop up a bit more of the purple. So that's the ultramarine violet. And the Payne's Grey is so strong that it has pretty much overwhelmed that color. I'm just mixing a few scoops more, just diluting it, or just softening it, dissolving it. And that should more or less give me what I'm looking for. Okay, fingers crossed, let's see. I'd like it to be a bit more purple, so I'm going to add still a little bit more ultramarine. I will be painting with these colors, so I can actually mix up a little bit more there for myself to use later. So that's this rather dark lavender color, as you see there. That's the one there. So for that I used ultramarine violet, plus ultramarine blue, and Payne's Grey. And I'm just going to do exclamation so I remember not to make it too strong. To mix indigo with a set, I'm mixing ultramarine with Payne's Grey, and that should give me a really deep, strong and intense blue. So I'm adding a bit more blue to it so it's not too grey. And so I have a little bit of paint mixed up for using next for my cat painting. So let's see. Yeah, that's a really dark blue. It probably reads quite black on the screen. This is the color I'm after, so it's like a really deep blue. And then the last color is green grey. So I will have to have some green color in and not just blue. And I'm cleaning the brush and picking up some of this cobalt green. Give it a good few scoops there. The paint started to dissolve, so I'm picking it up from there. I've got a lot of white mixed in there, and I've got Payne's Grey. And I hope, with a bit of luck, that should give me all the colors. It should give me the correct outcome. If not, I might add a bit more of the cobalt teal. There's a lot of white gouache in there, and I think it needs to be a bit more green. So I'm adding water with my brush that I've just painted blue with, so there's a bit of blue coming in as well. No, it definitely needs to be more green. It's too much of a blue-grey color. The color I'm after is this one there. And you can see it's just too clean, too blue. So I'm adding a bit more of the brown, the green. I'm almost tempted to add a little bit of brown to make it less clean. I don't know if it will just work with the green cobalt. Let me see when I just mix it to a little bit there, if it's a stronger concentration. Yeah, it's pretty much. So I can mix it with these, with the set and white and Payne's grey, but I think it needs to be dirtier, and I cannot make the color much dirtier with what I have here. I'll see if I add a little bit of the purple, if it will just act as almost a brown by just making the color less clean green. But my thinking is that nothing else is going to give me the lift that I'll have from a brown that will just, or a yellow. Let's see. Let's have a look. Got a little bit of nickel azo yellow, which is a favorite color of mine. Those of you who've done my classes will know it's a color I use a lot. So that's going to kick this into more of a green color. We'll have a lot of color to work with later, as in to paint with. Still a bit of gray dissolving. And yeah, that just tips it away from that blue color, which is actually a lovely color, but it makes it a little bit more green. So what I've done for the blue, for the indigo, was ultramarine plus Payne's grey, and for the green grey I had white, there's a lot of white, plus the cobalt green, plus ultramarine, and actually not much ultramarine, was really more, I would say I didn't really add, I just had a tiny tinge there, almost just from the dirty brush, so it really is just Payne's grey, plus nickel azo yellow. And that's it. So those are the colors, and then I'm going to mix a cat with these colors in my little video to end the cat themed November challenge with.